All right, guys, we are in the final week of class. And again, I want to just take a moment to walk through expectations of now the topic itself that you'll be putting together for your video research presentation. So again, go back to the old video that was posted. And again, it's under the research module that just walks through the directions. But today, what I'm going to focus in on is how do I make sure to guarantee to get an A on this assignment based on those directions, right? So now we're going to get into how do I choose a topic? How do I make sure my topic is appropriate? How do I make sure that I've got good information and insight on a research presentation? So let's walk through some of those things, and I'll try and make this as condensed as possible. But I think this is probably the easiest way to make sure you guys are on track to getting and receiving the best grade possible for this last assignment. Okay, so with that, let me just hide these because I'm on my laptop right now. So I need to kind of hide my video panel. Sorry about that. Okay, first things first, we're in the last week, right? And again, going back to what the assignments that are going to be due, you've got 3 SMART books. You don't have 4 chapters, only 3 this week. Only 1 lab assignment, but you've got a final, I should say your last exam due on Friday. Again, I'm going to make sure to reiterate this in the announcements. And then Saturday, your video research project is due and the course closes completely, right? Which is why I had to move that final exam or that exam 4 to that Friday. And again, giving you all day Saturday with nothing else due to be able to work on your video research project. Hopefully you're working on it before, but if not, at least you have Saturday to complete it. Okay, so where do I find the directions? Again, in the discussion board, you will see that I've got the video research project to be able to upload. If you click on here, I've got the directions. The directions are all laid out right here for you as well, right? And underneath the module section, right, I now have a little bit of an outline for you as far as the research project. So I've got a video research project breakdown that again, specifically and only talks about the directions. And I've also posted for you a I will make sure that it is there, but one way or another, inside of the discussion board, right, you have a download of the directions with the rubric attached to it. So please, please, please make sure to review that as well. Okay, so now the question becomes, right, based on these directions, right, is that you are finding something specific to Texas and something that can be narrowed down beyond water pollution, fire management, air pollution, trash, garbage. While those are great topics, we want to get streamlined. We want to narrow down our topic because we want to make it specific, right? We want to make it specific to our location. And with that being said, it doesn't have to be something that's a negative thing. Maybe there was an ecological success. Maybe they did a really great restoration cleanup in your area. Maybe you see that there's a park that got cleaned up that wasn't once at its pristine condition. These are success stories, right? We're learning about environmental science to understand how to fix these problems. And so there's lots of really great success stories. Additionally, as you're moving through the last couple of chapters here, you're also going to learn about the political landscape, right? How do bills get passed for protection measures? How do we ensure that we're keeping our national parks a national park and not allowing it to go into private hands so houses can be built, right? Protecting nature is just as important. So you could maybe even talk about a bill or a law that was passed to be able to protect specific services inside of Texas. That's another great program, right? So let's go into how do I choose my topic, and then we're going to walk through actual presentation kind of layout. So the first thing I really, again, want you to remember here is that we're looking for something specific to Texas. So what I could do, right? I could go to Google and type in environmental concerns of Texas, right? That's going to generate lots of different questions, lots of different problems, right? And of course, first and foremost, right here at the top, we see Texas Parks and Wildlife Department.gov. That is a true government bodying agency because I know through the .gov, I can click on it, right? And I can see there's a bevy of problems that are inside of Texas. I can click on any one of these and right, it'll tell us maybe the broad aspects of that topic. And it may actually bring us down into specifics. But for the most part, really what it's going to do, right, is it's going to tell you about just the background of this very big encompassing problem. While it is in Texas, it's still too big to talk about, right? It's still just too large of a situation to be able to navigate the specifics of it pretty exclusively. So again, it can maybe spring up some ideas of what you'd like to talk about, but now let's try and narrow it down a little bit further. So, okay, I went back, right? I've got my environmental concerns of Texas, great. But maybe I can localize that down a little bit further, right? Unfortunately, it's about Collin wrong, but maybe I live in Collin County. Maybe I live in Dallas. Maybe I live over, wherever it may be. Maybe there's a specific county I want to look into. Okay, well, again, very big, large, encompassing things. We know that illegal dumping is a problem. We know that trash is a problem. We know that yard waste could be a problem, right? And again, there may even be as there should be, a county org or .org.gov website that's going to specifically talk about aspects of environmental concerns within inside of that particular county. We're getting better. We're getting better. We're narrowing down our topic. But maybe instead what I do is maybe I just click on a map of Collin County, right? And if I click on the map itself, okay, it's going to bring up a beautiful outline of the location of where Collin County is, right? I'm going to see it on the map. Okay, that looks great, right? Oh, I noticed there's a big old lake here, Lavon Lake. That's a pretty big body of water, right? Maybe there's something going on at Lavon Lake I should know about. So now I go to another search and now I can narrow it down even further, environmental concerns of Lavon Lake. And now you can see there's a whole dedication of the watershed program. You can look at the aspects of, the history of it, et cetera, right? Now I'm very hyper specific. I'm specifically talking about a region inside of Texas. I'm going to find something that's pertaining to Lavon Lake exclusively. And I've really narrowed in on the map, right? So as you're setting up your presentation and you're giving me that background information, I've got a picture of the map of Texas. Maybe you want to zoom in to Collin County like we just did. And then you can show me, hey, here is where Lavon Lake is. Wow. I know now we are within Texas. We're very, very specific. This presentation is going to be really good because it's hitting all of those boxes that I required in the directions. So going back now to the directions, right? I've got an overview again of what is required to be a part of the presentation. So you're going to give me a background. You're going to give me an introduction. I've got some generalized questions here. You're going to give me some maps. You're going to give me some pictures, data, information. But now comes the important part. Now you need to find the research, right? Any good presentation. I'm giving you an overview of the topic we're going to talk about. I'm going to specifically focus what about that topic I'm going to talk about. And then I'm going to give you the information about that topic and then loop it around and close it out with some conclusions and some overall findings and sort of kind of where you should go with this information next. And of course, end with where did I get this material from? Where did I find this? A reference slide. So I want to focus in here. Okay, we have found a very hyper-specific thing. We're going to look at something of an environmental concern with inside of Lavon Lake. And now I need to find some data and some peer review research, right? Because it's a video research presentation. So I need to go find the research about this topic. What's the best way to do it? Dr. Varga, I don't really know about peer review research. I don't really know much about this term. I haven't used it before. Not a problem. If I just type into Google peer-reviewed articles on Lavon Lake environmental concerns, Google does a great job for you, right? Right here at the top, scholarly articles for peer review about Lavon Lake environmental concerns, right? Now, again, going back to our directions, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to find research from the last 5 to 10 years because that's the current state of it. We're not looking at the history. I'm not asking you to do a history project on Lavon Lake. I want to know what's going on at Lavon Lake now. What is something I need to be really concerned with? And what's the research telling me? And what is the most recent research about that topic telling me? So again, let's go back to just my Google peer review scholar search, right? I can click on one of these dates. So I can make sure that I'm within that time frame. Maybe I can just click on since 2020. And now look, it's got all of these things that are, again, going to be highlighted about that concern. What should I be looking for? Google does a great job. It's going to show you, right? Lavon Lake, Lavon Lake. If it's bolded, it means it's going to talk about that problem exclusively. Now, again, what is the problem? Are you talking about, watershed concerns? Are you talking about pollution? Are you talking about species, endangered species, population over control, right? Are you talking about endangered species? Whatever it may be, you need to make sure that, yes, while we've got Lavon Lake, tailor, right? Peer-reviewed articles on X at Lavon Lake. Now Google's going to do the job for you. It's going to make it really, really easy. And so what do we see? If I click on these, most of the good news is that these review articles are free. And that's wonderful because now you can pull it up, you can read it, you can look at it, you can look through and find out what, is worthy to take out, right? So we've got some data, we've got some information here. And if I go back, knowing that I have to make sure to cite this in APA citation, look at that. Google already knows you're going to need to cite this. So if I cite this, right, and I pull it up, boom, right there, APA citation. It's taken all the guesswork out of this for me. It's made it super easy for me to copy and paste. And that isn't a problem if you're copying and pasting the reference. That's great. That's what you should be doing. Google puts this in and makes it easy for you. What you should not be doing as far as copy and paste is going into the research paper, highlighting parts of this, and directly pasting it into your presentation. No part of that is responsibly appropriate. That's plagiarism, right? And you shouldn't be but Dr. Varga, what if I put it in quotation marks? And incorrect. That's not what we're practicing here. What we're practicing here is how do I look at this? How do I take data and information from this, putting it in my own words? If I'm using the language, the physical written words, I need to put that into my own terminology. Now, if you like the maps or the data and you want to use it, by all means, that is someone else's data, but you need to reference it. Same with even the information you're putting into your own words. You need to have a reference to where you got this information from. Otherwise, it leaves me in the dark and I don't know. Boy, we put up data, we put up really great pictures about science, we put up some really good facts and some graphs and some charts. Maybe you've even cited some percentages in here in your own words. But if I don't have a reference slide to know where you got that information, the only thing I'm left to assume is that you plagiarized it, right? So again, copying and pasting this, not the answer. You're going to lose points. You may even get cited half or zero credit because of that fact. So please don't do that. Please do not copy and paste. That's just lazy presentation skills. That's not what the goal of this is. The goal of this is for you to look over data that helps to tell the story of what the problem is with pictures and graphs and data, and then some surrounding language inside of there for me to know about what's the key points that I should take away, right? So again, going back to my directions, I know what I need to have inside of my presentation. Dr. Vargas laid it out for me, step by step by step. She's even showed me how to put together a reference slide. She showed me even where I can go inside of Google Scholar, right? To make sure I'm hitting the correct citation button and copying and pasting the citation. That's not plagiarism because you're giving me the reference in the appropriate format, right? So again, part of this is a couple different things. I'm testing your skills to see, one, how well can you present information in a cohesive and logical manner? So we're going to talk about presentation skills in just a second. Two, how and where are you finding the research to support what you're trying to say? How well do you navigate that research? How well do you display it inside of your presentation so that it's engaging and exciting, right? And then how do I know that you are appropriately finding research and giving credit where it's due? Because sure, we may not all go on to be researchers, totally fine. But whatever job you're going to go into, whether you're working on a team or whether you're doing reports or whether you're collecting information for, if you're working for a specific organization, maybe you're working in the legal field, maybe you're working over in the research and development, you're going to need to be able to pull information to support what you're trying to showcase, right? Even if you're trying to be in business and sell products, you're going to need to create a business plan. You're going to need to go out and need to do SWOT analysis. You're going to need to go out and develop all of the competitive analysis. What's out there? What do I need to fulfill? That's all the research that you're learning how to appropriately cite so that you can move forward in whatever you're trying to do at your career or at your job position. I have also put in here for you some really great notes about, again, how do I use and upload and create presentations? All of these show you, whether you're using PowerPoint, Prezi, or Zoom, how to appropriately video record. So, right, you can see me right now. That's a part of this presentation, right? You can see my inflection. Maybe you want to watch me for a minute. Maybe you want to go back to the screen. Maybe that's what we would do if we were face-to-face anyway. So the video component and hearing you is just as an important part of this as the research, the data, the actual flow of the presentation. So again, make sure you review these things too. The very last thing, and I'll make sure to remind you guys, is again, once you've uploaded your presentation, you have until the end of Saturday night to not only upload it, but also to be sure to reply to 2 other student videos answering these questions with a, "Hello, Dr. Varga, I found your presentation extremely X, Y, and Z," right? You have to answer these questions in a 5-sentence paragraph to receive the last 10 points of your presentation. Okay? So that covers, again, how do I get really hyper specific in my presentation? Now, let's walk through a couple different things as it relates to bad PowerPoint presentations. So the first thing I want to bring up here, I just found this on the web and I thought this was kind of good. I can't tell you how many students give me a presentation like this. Not the presentation itself. Don't worry about the slides, but do you see the modality I'm in? Do you see that you can see all the PowerPoint slides? I can still, it's like you're still making the PowerPoint. That's not a presentation. That's not how you would give your presentation in class, right? So number one thing, if you're using PowerPoint or you're using Prezi, right, or you're using Zoom with PowerPoint open, please make sure we transition into presentation mode. You will lose points if I'm seeing the other screen, right? This is important. This is a part of how we put together a good presentation, because if you were in a room with your colleagues or your future boss, right, you're not going to present like this. You're going to present in presentation mode, right? So now let's look through this. What is some of the worst things that we can see in presentations? And we've all seen a bad one, right? So this is, I'm going to also post for you as well. But let's stop here. I don't even need you to read this, but I'm sure you can already tell me what's going wrong. This, to me, when I get PowerPoints like this to me demonstrates this was put together last minute, or we didn't practice enough to know what we want to logically say. So we're putting in a ton of text because I think if I look at the text, I'm going to be able to know what I'm talking about. But here's the problem. If you lose your train of thought, or if you want to talk about something specifically, right? If you say, okay, fresh fruit leads, right? And I want to now mention something about the Department of Agriculture. And while you're giving your presentation, it reminds you of something else that you want to speak to. And now you want to come back to the presentation. Now you've got to skim. Okay, where did I leave off? Okay, I think I was in the middle of the first bullet point. Don't do this, because this is distracting. This is not a good presentation. This is, I did it last minute. And let me tell you, this is copy and paste. I know this is. So when I see presentations like this, I go into your presentation, I look for these large swaths of text, and I go copy and paste them and put them into Google. And unfortunately, when I find this, I tend to find that it's copied and pasted from a source, and you're going to get docked for plagiarism, at best half credit. That's not what the point of this is. One sentence, two sentences at most within each bullet point, right? And again, pictures, supporting documentation. And these are very generic pictures, right? Now, if this is just the opening topic slide, that's great. That's not a problem. The other thing that's a problem here, you know what I unfortunately see all the time? Fresh fruit leads to Chile's export. Chile emerges as a major supplier of fresh fruit to the world market due to ample natural resources. Consumer demand for fresh fruit. We hopefully know how to read, right? That's not a presentation, that's you reading to me. And you're going to get docked points. So when you put a lot of text on a slide, it's just too inviting to want to read directly that material. That's not what a good presentation is, right? Way too much text, right? The more text you put in, the smaller it gets, the harder it is to see, the harder it is to read, right? Let's look at this one. Okay. Better as far as language. There's big bullet points. The font is nice and big, but again, it's not as visually appealing, right? Why? Because the choices of the colors. Some people have color blindness, right? So we really need to be sure that whoever is watching my presentation, right, is able to see this, is able to view it and understand what I'm looking at. I'm sure we can imagine what's going on here. Now I've got too many pictures. Keep your slides simple. What am I supposed to pay attention to? I think we're talking about suits. But I got some eyeballs. I've got some fire emojis. I've got wow. I've got, I mean, and these are graphics from like way back in the day. But to that point, it brings up a great point. It's too overwhelming. It's too distracting, right? And we've got really unrelevant information on there. If I'm trying to talk about suits and why professionalism is important, I don't need stick emojis. I don't need videos. I don't need or a GIF, right? I just need to stick to the information at hand. I want to guide my reader. I'm hand holding my reader all the way through this presentation. The more things I put on, text, reading, distracting pictures, too generic of pictures, right? I'm losing my audience. My audience is going to start to pull away from me because it's not engaging anymore. So again, find pictures relevant to your specific topic, not generic stock pictures of the environmental concept. If you're talking about water pollution, the only stock picture is maybe in the background of your opening slide. Hey, this is what I'm going to talk about. But from there, it should be very hyper specific to, again, if I was talking about Lavon Lake, I should be focusing in on pictures because I guarantee they exist for Lavon Lake's water pollution problem, right? Again, find charts, maps, graphs. This is where you're going to that research to pull those pictures out that are relevant to your topic. Do not put students in the past, I don't know, they have put pictures of things and maps that don't even relate to Texas. And if I do a reverse Google image search, they're coming out of Maine. Or this is a picture that's related to air pollution in China, right? That's not specific to the topic we're talking about. Again, that peer review research most likely is going to have some really great data and information and pictures to your specific topic. Also, as you're researching your topic, right, and you Google search and you figure out your hyper specific information, you can click on images and I promise you they're going to be images related to that specific topic. Once you click on an image, right, you can even click on an image again and it'll take you exactly to where that information is coming from. If it doesn't relate to your topic, it's not a good choice, right? So this is really just if we were in face-to-face. So I'm leaving this in just because I think it's fundamental for just good overall presentation, right? If you are going to utilize a video that you think is really important, you must utilize a video that's very short. This video presentation shouldn't be longer, right? I think 12 minutes is max, or maybe 9 minutes is max. Anything beyond that, and if you're using 50% of that time to show me a video, you're not giving me a research presentation. You're hoping the video does the job for you. Another thing, we shouldn't have links that are taking us outside of the video or outside of the presentation unless they are incredibly important. And we're going to talk about them for maybe 10 to 20 seconds to highlight, hey, this is a resource you could use if you want to know more about this topic. I unfortunately have had students put links inside of their presentation that bring me to the research paper page, and then they read the research paper to me. That's not the goal of this. The goal is you should be taking information to put into the presentation itself, right? Don't use too many slide animations, things bouncing around, color change, highlights, lips. Those are just distracting. And again, while they're fun and they're super exciting, it's just distracting away from the fact that maybe you didn't have enough information to fill, or maybe you're kind of hoping people pay attention to that versus really what the meat and potatoes of your presentation should be. Also, this is just for future and always reference. Please make sure that your link works. Please make sure that once you upload it, please make sure that it works and I can see you and hear you. And again, that was in the directions video. Test, practice, test again, practice again. Because here's the thing, guys. If that presentation is uploaded and you upload it at 11:59 p.m., the course closes at 12 on Saturday. Done. Finito. That's not my choice. That's the university. The course closes, the Canvas shell closes. It's done. There's no changes. And if I can't see your video presentation, if I can't hear you in that video presentation, and all you've given me is just a PowerPoint, right? Best case scenario is going to be half credit. You failed it. So please don't wait until the 25th hour. I know that it's tempting. I know you all have lives. I know this has been a very intense 5-week course. But again, in this week, you've got less information to study, less assignments as far as the smart book, the lab, right? And even the final exam. And then you have all day Saturday to do this. But if you're going to sit down at 11 o'clock and try and put this together to be done by 11:59, I'm not in that room with you. I can't say you couldn't put together a research presentation, but you're just setting yourself up for frantically trying to put it in. What if your internet does go out? We're in the heat now. What if the power fails, right? If I don't have proof of this, I'm just seeing it as an excuse. So let's not do that. Let's give ourselves time and let's get this in accordingly. Okay, so big highlights here. Read over the directions again. Go back into the modules, scroll down, watch the first video I posted for you guys about the overview of the directions, right? I'm also going to upload this information down here as well into the module that you're currently in, because maybe we've missed that top one. Again, look at your timeline. You have everything for lab and lecture as far as the Connect platform due on Friday. Saturday, you have all day to work on your video research project, upload it, and answer and comment on 2 other student presentations. Once midnight hits, course is done, guys. I have to put in grades. So please be aware of this. Please be vigilant. Please be on top of it. Most of you are kicking butt and taking names. Let's bring it home strong in this last week. Okay? And as always, I know we've got the holiday week. I know that we've got the 4th of July on Thursday, right? We've just got to, if we get ahead of it now, if we get things taken care of now, at least smart books and maybe that one lab, if we can complete those by today or tomorrow, right? Then I've got tomorrow and maybe all day Friday to go back, do my reviews, read through my chapters again, and really get that final good grade on that last exam. And then I can kind of breathe a little bit easy. I still have one more project, but it's kind of at my own discretion. I can go and find something cool to talk about. If any of this does not make sense, please make sure to schedule time with me. Again, the holiday, I'm also going to be enjoying too. So if you're hoping Thursday I'm going to touch base with you, it's not going to happen. But again, if you need to schedule something for Friday, we can work that out. Please just plan appropriately. That's all I'm asking. All right, I will post this as well. And I'm also going to post this as an announcement and post this in the rest of the module information as well. So stick with it, guys. We are in the last week. I know you can do it. Across the board, I'm seeing pretty good averages. So let's just bring it home and bring it home strong. All right, guys, take care.